Joy Behar never expected the day to unravel like this. When she walked onto the brightly lit stage of The View that morning, she carried her usual mix of humor, sharp wit, and the slight impatience she felt on days when the studio energy felt off. But even on her worst mornings, she could handle anything. Or so she thought. Little did she know that today would bring a clash so heated, so unexpected, and so emotionally charged that she would do something she had almost never done in her decades of broadcasting: stop the show live on air. From the moment Joy sat down, she sensed a strange tension humming beneath the surface. Whoopi Goldberg was unusually quiet. Sunny Hostin tapped her pen repeatedly, a sure sign she was overthinking something. Sarah Haynes had her polite smile glued to her face, but her eyes flicked nervously toward the backstage entrance as if anticipating something unpredictable. And unpredictable was exactly what they were about to get. The day's guest was none other than Vin Diesel, Hollywood's action titan, known for roaring engines, family-centered monologues, and stunts that defy gravity and common sense. He was there to promote his newest film, an emotional action story that combined destruction with depth. But Vin didn't walk into the studio with the relaxed energy of a press tour superstar. No, he walked in carrying a storm. The problems started before the cameras even rolled. Backstage, Vin had been seen pacing aggressively, muttering lines to himself, occasionally barking instructions at his team. He wasn't angry, but he looked like a man carrying heavy weight. A combination of exhaustion, pressure from the studio, tight deadlines, and the emotional toll of the film's storyline had left him raw. When a stressed person meets a woman whose humor has knives hidden inside its edges, sparks are guaranteed. But nobody expected a fire. The red tally light flashed. The opening music started. The women waved to the camera. Vin walked out to roaring applause. But despite his smile, something in his eyes flickered, a warning light, barely visible. Joy saw it, but dismissed it. Another celebrity having a dramatic morning, she whispered to Sarah. But this morning was unlike any other. After a few standard introductory questions, the conversation shifted to Vin's new film. Joy, in her comedic fashion, made a remark that had the audience laughing, but Vin stiffening. "So Vin," Joy said, leaning back casually, "you're jumping off buildings, rolling under trucks, outrunning fireballs, at your age. My knees hurt just watching that trailer." The crowd erupted, even Sarah giggled. But Vin didn't. He looked at Joy with an expression halfway between disbelief and irritation. "I train every day," he said slowly, his tone sharper than expected. "I put in real work. People think action movies are easy, but they're not." Joy chuckled lightly. She thought he was being playful. She responded, "Oh, I know you work hard, Vin. I'm just saying, maybe save a few bones for retirement." That's when the energy shifted. Vin leaned forward, his voice tightening. "I don't need jokes undermining my work," he said. The audience let out a collective, "ooh," thinking he was playing. But Joy immediately realized he wasn't. She blinked, startled. Whoopi raised her hand subtly, her silent, "everyone calm the hell down," gesture. But Joy wasn't one to back down when she felt someone's tone shifting. "Vin, it's a joke," she said. "You're on The View. We joke about everything, even ourselves." Vin crossed his arms, muscles hardening. "Well, some jokes are disrespectful. Especially when I don't think people understand what I go through." His voice was cool, but underneath, something trembled: frustration, hurt, exhaustion. Sunny, always the mediator, quickly jumped in. "Let's talk about the emotional part of your movie," she offered. But Vin barely looked at her. His eyes remained locked on Joy. The cameras zoomed closer. Producers leaned forward in the control room. The audience sensed something real happening. Joy folded her hands, fluttering between comedic instinct and irritation. "Vin, I get it. You're proud of your work. But if you can't take a little joke," Vin interrupted sharply, "I take many things. But I don't take being belittled." That word hit Joy like a slap. Her eyebrows shot up. "Belittled? I'm not belittling you," she retorted. "This is our show. We tease, we laugh, we relax. Don't take everything so seriously." Vin fired back, "Maybe you should try taking something seriously for once." The studio gasped. A real gasp, sharp, loud, stunned. Joy froze. Whoopi closed her eyes. Sunny's jaw dropped. Sarah let out a tiny squeak. In 20 years of hosting, Joy had endured politicians barking at her, comedians roasting her, and fellow hosts bickering on air. But she had never been deliberately insulted by a guest in this tone. Joy inhaled slowly, the kind of breath that signals something big is coming. She leaned forward, stared directly at Vin Diesel, and in a tone calm enough to be dangerous, said, "Stop." Vin blinked. "What?" Joy raised her hand toward the crew. "Stop the show," she said. "Cut. Commercial. Something." The audience went dead silent. The energy froze. The control room scrambled, unsure if this was a bit, a meltdown, or a ratings miracle. Joy stood up slightly in her chair, not enough to leave, but enough to reclaim power. "We're not continuing this," she said to the air, to the cameras, to the universe. "Not like this." Then she turned to Vin. "If you think I'm disrespecting you by doing my job, then we need to talk off camera." Vin opened his mouth to respond, but Joy held up a finger. "No, not now." The room had shifted entirely. Joy Behar, always loud, always comedic, was uncharacteristically controlled, firm, steady. Her voice carried decades of experience in handling chaos. The screen cut to an unscheduled commercial break. Backstage, chaos erupted. Vin's team rushed to him, trying to calm him. Producers swirled around Joy, who was sitting quietly, breathing slowly to prevent her anger from spilling out uncontrolled. Whoopi walked between them like a peace negotiator in a war zone. "Look," Vin finally said, the edge softening in his voice, "I didn't mean to snap. I've been under a lot of pressure. The film, my schedule, I barely slept last night." Joy, softening but still defensive, replied, "I wasn't attacking you, Vin. I joke with everyone. Politicians, pundits, actors, even the Pope if he ever came on the show." Vin cracked a small, reluctant smile. "I overreacted," he admitted. "The joke hit me wrong today." Joy sighed. "It happens. We all have bad days. But don't come on my set and tell me I don't take anything seriously. I take this job very seriously." Vin nodded. "You're right. I'm sorry." The tension melted slowly, like air leaving a balloon. But both of them knew the return to live television had to be flawless. Millions were watching. Social media was already likely exploding. The two shook hands, a gesture of truce. When they returned from break, the air was transformed. Joy looked into the camera and said, "All right, we're back. We had a little, intense moment. But don't worry, we worked it out. Everything's fine." Vin smiled, more relaxed, more genuine than before. "Live TV keeps you on your toes," he said jokingly. Joy smirked. "That's right. And if you survive me, you can survive anything." The audience laughed, tension broken. The rest of the interview flowed more smoothly. Vin spoke passionately about the emotional themes in his film, loss, loyalty, redemption, and Joy listened attentively, chiming in with more measured humor. And for the first time that day, the energy felt right. But what the audience didn't know was that the clash had stirred something deeper in Joy. After the show, she sat quietly in her dressing room, replaying the moment in her mind. The insult, the tension, the decision to stop the show. It reminded her of why she had lasted so long in this complicated industry. Not because she was the funniest. Not because she was the smartest. But because she never let anyone, no matter how big, how famous, how intense, tear down the integrity of her work. Vin later knocked on her door. They spoke, not as celebrity and host, but as two people standing in the wreckage of an emotional moment they never planned. He thanked her again. She accepted with grace. And life moved forward. But the internet never forgets. The clash became a viral storm. Millions debated it. Clips spread. Commentators chimed in. Some defended Joy. Some defended Vin. But one thing was clear. Nobody would ever forget the day Joy Behar stopped The View live on air. Not because of scandal, but because she stood firm when the moment demanded courage.